This is part 2 of a mini-series of videos documenting my resurrection of this abandoned project. It wasn't abandoned by me. You can catch part 1 up there. There are a number of issues with this plane. I had a problem with the window. I had hoped to be able to pull that out with a vacuum cleaner, but that didn't work out. And also I discovered a problem with the support for the steerable nose wheel. Clearly there was something wrong with the firewall. Now, there's only really one way to solve those problems. There's no way to get into the cockpit from underneath. I took then the decision to split the fuselage in half. Voila! This actually turned out to be a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Once I'd opened up part of the seam and got my craft knife in there, I was able to move that along and relatively easily cut the glue and split the thing apart. It's unclear to me whether this was glued together at the factory, but the previous owner had used this nasty cheap epoxy, which you can just peel off. So not a great advert there for using epoxy to glue foam, but thankfully it kind of worked in my favour, as it is so easy to remove. I was therefore able to release the broken part of the tail assembly and glue that back on. A bit of epoxy there to get rid of. So that should go back together reasonably well. The Yoo-hoo paw made a nice strong joint there. I was then able to push and glue the window back into place. That's now nice and solid. What I think I will do for the future is to cut a hole here, and that will provide 2 functions. One, I should be able to get inside and poke the window back should it come adrift again, and also I have ideas of maybe putting an FPV camera or something in there. I next turned my attention to the firewall, which had a split in it here, you can see. Welded that back together, and that is now hopefully going to be strong enough. I've also managed to source an almost matching wheel pant for the front nose wheel and put a wheel on there. That is steerable through this linkage here, and I've mounted the motor mount to the front firewall so that I can get some idea of the distance between the propeller and the firewall for 3D printing my own nose cone. Let's now see what other jobs need doing. I've tried the boiling water trick to see if I can expand the foam out here that's been crushed when whatever happened with the nose wheel pushed it back. There is still a crack here which I'm going to glue. I'm concerned about the gap there not supporting the back of the nose wheel. What I'm going to do then is, this looks to me about credit card width down there. I'm going to take this off and glue a piece of credit card to the back of it. Having said that glue doesn't stick to nylon, in my research people were saying that hot melt glue will stick things to nylon. We're going to find out. Sticking on the bit of credit card with hot melt glue worked really well. That's nice and solid. I can't easily peel that off, and with it stuck in place I was able to run my knife along the edge just to get it to fit exactly. So keep that one in mind if you're working with nylon, at least for laminating pieces together or whatever. Try hot melt glue. That then slides into there, and you can see the now glued repair there. It's never going to be perfect, but it's much better than it was. Let's put the other half on with that extra thickness of credit card in there now, that I'm much happier with. Still a little bit of movement there, but hopefully nothing untoward. Also in the bottom of the cockpit there you can see a rectangle that I've cut out. I'm going to 3D print some plates interchangeable for different camera types that I can fix to there with Velcro or whatever. You can see how that looks in the cockpit there. So that's those little jobs out of the way. Have to have a think now if there's anything else that I need to do before gluing the fuselage halves back together. I don't think so. I think we're there. Then I can glue the tail in and pay attention to the wings. Before I glued the two halves back together, I just thought I'd check the connection for the steerable nose wheel, and there's a problem. You can see there that it's bent up across the top of the foam here. Something definitely isn't right. This was installed by the original builder. When I got the model, it also had in the same connection the long extension there that would go to the rudder. Nose wheel and rudder, conventional arrangement. But this is definitely not right. What appears to have happened is that he had a choice of two locations to put the servo and got it wrong. If I remove the control rod from there, you can see that it fits nicely up to there, and it doesn't make any difference really to this control. Looking right at the back here, there are two exits. The bottom two would be for the elevators, as the control rods are underneath, and this top one will be for the rudder. Therefore I'm going to cut the servo out of there and remount it there. I don't think there's anything else to check. I will double check and glue the fuselage back together. Things are really coming together now. I've just added the receiver. This is my receiver of choice at the moment. I love the telemetry option. It takes the guesswork out of wondering when your battery is getting low. Also, it being 6-channel, it's ideal if I wish to add flaps to this at a later date. The servo over here is driving both the rudder and, via this linkage, the steerable nose wheel. Over here we can see one antenna. I like to have at least one outside the body of the aircraft, even if it is foam. The other's passing down here in a little channel there that makes it at 90 degrees to the other antenna. This is my 3D printed plate for the hatch that was missing, and that just push fits into there. Has air holes in. Hopefully some air is going to pass in and over the battery, which is going to be located in this area here, and then exit out of there. And finally at the back there we can see the dual linkages for the elevators. That's all looking good then, and there are the aileron connections going into one. That matches up with this guy here. The servo installations are quite straightforward. The next step then will be to check all the control surfaces for their amount of movement and the correct direction, and finally try and guess what the centre of gravity is going to be. You can see here that I've located the battery as far forward as it will go into the slot there, and we'll see where that gives us our C of G. There's no indication on the plane itself that I can find. We're just having to go by guess and by God. What normally happens, certainly for tricycle gear, the centre of gravity is going to be forward of the wheels, which is kind of a no-brainer. I often find that the location, spookily usually, is close to where they put the servo wires. Whether that is a coincidence or not, I do not know. With my fingers just on that location, it's balanced pretty much level. It might be easier to do it upside down. Not sure if you can make out, but that's pretty much where my fingers are on that same spot there. Maybe a little bit nose heavy, but that's all to the good. Now for the control surfaces. And of course, no propeller, especially on a model of this size. Propeller being 10 by 6, we don't want that going AWOL. Elevator down is up is down, that's correct. If I move the aileron stick to the right one goes up, left one goes down, and vice versa, so that's correct. The amount of throws should be sufficient. Rudder, right to the right, left to the left. And you can hear that buzzing because the steerable nose wheel is on the ground there. Not sure if you can see that moving. Just about. All is good then. The throttle.
Throttle active.
Yeah, it's got a bit of torque, that motor. The motor is a 3536 910 kV. All looks good then for our maiden flight, hopefully in the next day or so. So stay tuned for that, and as always, many thanks for watching.